How y'all doing? It's Robert Woods with the LA Rams, and you're watching KSN.
KSN. They gon' love this. They gon' love this.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, here it is, the only podcast for kids which you don't want to miss. Welcome to the pilot episode of the KSN podcast, broadcasting from our studio in Sherman Oaks, California. I am your host, Irvin. We've got a great show for you today, but first, this show would not have been possible without the help of all of our listeners and viewers. And to be honest with you, this show, our brand, would not be where it is today without your generous support. Today on the show, we've got the Cal State California Player of the Year, Bakersfield, California's very own running back and middle linebacker, Logan Bowers. Logan will be joining our show today to talk about concussions in youth football, college scholarships being handed out to middle schoolers, the NBA's new draft rule, and also life as a teenager, transitioning from middle school to high school. However, earlier this year, I gotta say, I found myself impressed by all of the junior golfers at the 2018 Tailor-Made Players Championship. It was actually held at the River Course at the Ali Sal in Solvang, California. And I must say, there's a ton of pressure competing in these golf tournaments. After watching these junior golfers play, it was clear to me that these competitors were ready to give it their all. In addition to that, kudos to the Ventura County Junior Golf Association for providing our junior golfers the opportunity to participate in these golf tournaments. And I actually got a little swag bag from that event. Check this out. So that's the VCJGA. So, the staff there was really wonderful. They really encouraged these junior golfers to succeed. And I believe there's going to be an upcoming tournament sometime in November. I encourage you all to visit their website for more information. So now let's get into some clips of our guest, Logan Bowers. We're going to go to the highlight reel. Check that out. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'd like to introduce our first guest, Logan Bowers. Logan, welcome to the show. How's it going? It's great to hear. I wanted to tell you something. I am very impressed with all your accomplishments. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but based on my research, you've received a total of 16 football awards, 6 academic awards, and you've also been involved with community service. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Dude, by far the coolest thing ever. I want to ask you, who are some of the heroes you look up to in football?
Some of the heroes I look up to in football are running backs, because that's my favorite position. I love Marshawn Lynch. He's my favorite running back by far. He's just hard-nosed running back. Love it. He's super fast. It's hard to bring him down. It's just the way he runs.
Now, let me ask you this. You mentioned Marshawn Lynch. Is there anything that you specifically admire about him?
Just how his big plays, his famous plays, like how he always ran against the Cardinals, his big runs. It's crazy.
Now, Logan, you've been playing football for quite some time now. When did you first become interested in the sport?
Being interested in the sport, my dad, he began coaching when my brother was about 7 or 8. So when I was 5, I was on the sideline with him. So it was pretty interesting watching. So it was just great. I loved it. Just watching it, so fast-paced, and it's something that I look forward to.
That's awesome. Now, earlier we did mention that you were involved with community service. So I do got to ask you, Logan, what made you want to volunteer through community service?
To do community service, I just want to give back to the community and help out other people. It just makes me really happy. It's just something I enjoy doing.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. What are some benefits to doing volunteer work?
Some benefits is just getting to know the people around you, Like if you want to help out people like that are older, it's a great learning experience. Sometimes you can learn something. Like it's just super fun.
That's awesome to hear, Logan. Now, I also got to ask you, how has your involvement in the community impacted the life of others, or your life for that matter?
I've learned a lot from helping out older people. Like they give me a lot of life lessons about like what to do, things like that, and they always have fun. So it's more for them. So they always like smile and have fun. It's just great for them.
Awesome. Now, Logan, I know you've just recently started your freshman year of high school at Garces Memorial High School. Now, what's the main difference between middle school and high school?
It's not very much of like a difference. It's just you get there at 7 and you kind of leave at 7. So it's just really tough. Like you're always there, and it's just a lot harder work.
And that's referring to high school, or were you mentioning
it's
middle
high
school?
school, and the middle school is just it's not too bad. It's just 8. Like you go to school at 8:00 and then you leave at 2. So it's not.
So it's a pretty easy schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is there a specific or particular class that you look forward to taking
every
day?
I really like PE because of Coach Gass, the varsity head coach. He's my PE teacher. He's a really funny guy.
Okay. Shout out to Coach Gass. How you doing, Coach Gass? Now, I also got to ask you, sports in middle school and high school. I want to say, are sports taken more seriously in high school compared to middle school?
Yeah, definitely. High school football, it's a lot more serious because usually the freshman year, you're always trying to work hard to get to JV or varsity and be ready for the next level. It's just a really big thing for everyone.
Now, Logan, you mentioned that sports are actually taken a lot more seriously in high school. I do got to ask you, what do you know about concussions?
I don't know too much about them. I know that a lot of kids that I know have gotten them inside and out of school and like on sports fields and things like that. I know the NFL has changed a lot of rules because of it, and like rules are getting stricter with harder hits and things like that. That's pretty much what I mostly know about it.
Okay. Now, how often do you think concussions occur in youth football?
I don't really experience it too much like in games. I don't really see it. I've never had a concussion before. I just see it a lot during practices mostly.
Now, do you think concussions happen more during practice or actual games?
I honestly just practice because Oklahoma drills, things like that, like hard hitting, stuff like that. It's mostly in practice, so I'd say practice.
Okay. Now, luckily, you did mention that you haven't suffered a concussion your entire life playing sports, which is great. However, would you happen to know anybody or perhaps know of someone that has actually suffered a concussion in the past, whether it's sports or outside of sports?
Yeah, I've known a few friends that have had one. Some people just can't really play, but usually the high school rules are really safe about it. Like before I started my freshman year of football, they had us do a concussion test. So most people pass it. It's pretty good.
Now, I do want to actually show you this. I'm sure you're familiar with this headgear. I know this is always used like during 7-on-7 games, right?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, is this something that you guys use during the game, or is it something that perhaps is not enforced? Tell me more about this, man.
It's not really enforced in games from what I've seen and me playing in them. Most people really just haven't had us really want to wear them. It's really uncomfortable. It's hard to put on, strap. It feels uncomfortable under the chin and things like that. But it's not really enforced now.
Okay. Now, how do you think concussions can become, or how do you think we can prevent concussions?
Just preventing concussions, like tackling techniques, like leading with the head, not doing that. Just easier things like that.
Okay. Now, this is something I was completely unaware about until recently, but I've actually learned that scholarships aren't simply for high school seniors or current college students anymore. Apparently, there's also programs available for elementary school students and middle school students. So my question to you, Logan, do you feel like scholarships are important?
Definitely. It's I don't think they should be given out on a lower level, like 8th and 7th graders, because usually it just inflates their ego and things like that. I don't think it's very healthy for that. I think definitely seniors, juniors, sophomores, getting them, it really gets them out there, high school rankings, national, stuff like that.
Okay. Now, are there any other sports you watch besides football?
I love watching NBA and other things like that.
Okay, so being that you do watch the NBA, I'm not sure if you've heard or maybe you might learn about it right now, but there's this new NBA draft rule. And basically what that means is that the NBA plans to potentially allow high school prospects to jump from high school into the pros. Now, Logan, if given the opportunity, would you skip college to play professionally and earn a lot of money? Or would you rather do it the old-fashioned way, the traditional way, and that's going to college, obtaining your degree, and then eventually jumping into the pros?
Yeah, I think going to college is a very big thing because you have your degree, then you have more experience of college football, and I think college football is very important to other people, and it can also like boost like draft ratings, things like that. I think it's really helpful.
And also, I think would you say that maybe like, starting basically from college, it's a little bit easier on your body too? I mean,
yeah, definitely, because like you're more trained. Like college training it's like high school training also, so it's just really like experience and things like that.
Right, and you can imagine like maybe if they were to actually, perhaps draft somebody strictly or directly from high school and jump into the pros. It could be kind of nerve-wracking, right? Yeah. I mean, like you don't have the experience that you would like someone that went to college and actually did their thing there, right?
Like, they got their speed and their height and their strength.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, But I also want to ask you though, in regards to the NBA new draft rule that they've been discussing, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, it really just depends on how the player feels about their game and how they feel like they can do. Like it's just like usually like NBA players, like they had their college experience. Most of them really have, but high school players, I know, like I've heard of some high school players coming out of high school and wanting to go back into college, things like that. So, I mean, if they really want to and they feel like they can play at that level, then they should. But.
Okay. To each their own, basically. And so tell us more about Bakersfield in general. Football out there is huge, right?
Yeah, it's very big. It's getting bigger, like from other like high schools, things like that, like Liberty, BHS, and Garcis. They're starting to play like bigger teams like Mission Viejo, St. John Bosco, Servite. They're starting to get those big games in. So Bakersfield's they're getting up there now.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If you were to have any children in the future, or if you had plans on having children, do you see your children actually following in your footsteps and playing football?
Definitely. I think they really want to play football, but like, it's really up to them. If they want to play any other sport, I'd support it. It'd be great for them.
Okay.
Just any kind of sports.
Right on. Now, I got to ask for all the audience. I know they probably will get a kick out of this. Video games. Outside of sports, there has to be some sort of thing that you do for fun when you're not playing sports. Do you play video games?
Yeah, I do. Madden 19 is a big thing.
Is that what you're currently playing right now? Okay. Right on. What team do you like to play as?
I like to play as the Giants. Saquon Barkley and Odell. Fun combo.
Okay. Now, since we're on the topic of video games, do you play Fortnite?
Not really. I used to play. It's really fun.
Okay. Well, hey, man. I'm glad you stopped by our show. We want to wish you the best of luck in high school, and we hope you have a successful career in sports. Hopefully, we'll see you in the NFL someday, man.
Definitely. Thank you.
Before you leave, though, we do have some KSN swag for you. Check this out. Just for you, my man.
Oh, thank you so much. Very nice.
Thank you, sir. Now, this concludes our first episode of the KSN podcast. My name is Irvin. Stay tuned for more episodes. Until next time, signing off. Take care.
We are competitors competing for the goal of a lifetime. To shine on KSN, highlights top 10. Yeah, KSN.